Welcome, I'm id number 6, and today we're stripping away the fairy tale image of the Middle Ages to reveal its truly grimy reality. Forget chivalry and shining armor. Daily life was ruled by bizarre, sometimes revolting customs that would shock us today. From bloodletting to animal trials, these weren't myths, but real practices that shaped medieval Europe. Medicine, hygiene, and even royal service were often stranger and more disgusting than fiction. We'll explore a world where a cold might mean a good bleeding, a king's toilet was a matter of state, and a pig could be sentenced to death. This is the raw, unfiltered truth of the Middle Ages. Ready to dive in? Let's begin. Let's delve into the practice of bloodletting, a practice that stood as the cornerstone of medieval medicine for centuries. It was a procedure deeply ingrained in their understanding of health and disease, feeling sick, run down, or just not quite yourself. The solution, according to medieval physicians, was surprisingly simple and seemingly universal. It involved draining your blood, often a significant amount, sometimes until you fainted from the sheer loss. Doctors of the time firmly believed that illness stemmed from imbalanced humors within the body, and bloodletting was thought to be the key to restoring equilibrium and, therefore, health. The process itself was undeniably crude by modern standards. Veins were sliced open with a lancet, and the flowing blood was collected in bowls, often measured to determine when balance was achieved. Alternatively, and perhaps even more unsettling, leeches were applied directly to the skin to suck the blood out. There was no sterilization of tools and a very limited understanding of hygiene or the human body. This led to a lot of unnecessary blood loss and a significant risk of infection for the patient. Ironically, this supposed cure often left patients significantly weaker than they were before the procedure, and in some tragic cases, it ended up killing them outright. Yet, despite its dangers, bloodletting was a trusted medical practice for centuries, practiced on everyone from the lowliest peasants to the most powerful kings. Even the iconic barber's pole, with its distinctive red and white stripes, serves as a lasting reminder of this bloody tradition, as barbers often performed bloodletting procedures. For hundreds of years, the prevailing belief was that healing meant opening a vein and hoping for the restoration of balance within the body. It stands as a chilling reminder of just how dangerous medical ignorance and misguided practices can truly be. Now let's step back in time to the opulent world of the royal court. Here, amidst the finery and intrigue, we find one of history's strangest jobs, the groom of the stool, a title that sounds rather peculiar to our modern ears. This high-ranking noble's main duty, it might surprise you, assisting the king with his toilet needs, a task most would consider beneath them. Yes, literally, attending to the monarch's most private moments. Far from lowly work, despite its seemingly unglamorous nature, it offered unmatched access to the monarch, a privilege sought after by many. This close proximity made the groom a powerful confidant, privy to the king's innermost thoughts. He managed the king's commode, ensuring its cleanliness and readiness, but his duties extended beyond that. He also monitored royal health, observing any changes or irregularities, and even handled finances, overseeing aspects of the royal purse. The groom's influence was immense, a testament to the power of proximity. He could sway decisions, offering advice and counsel in moments of vulnerability, and control access to the king, acting as a gatekeeper to the royal presence. In a world where the king's body was a matter of state, scrutinized and analyzed, even bathroom business was political, a stage for subtle maneuvering. The role was both respected, a position of considerable power, and to us deeply bizarre, a relic of a bygone era. Medieval privacy, not quite the concept we understand today. The groom of the stool was guardian, a constant presence of the king's most personal and surprisingly political moments. Think the Middle Ages were all filth and squalor? Not quite as simple as that. Public bathhouses were surprisingly popular social hubs, bustling with activity. People of all social classes soaked together in these communal spaces, sharing the same water for hours on end, creating a unique, if somewhat unhygienic, social experience. But let's be honest, hygiene was definitely questionable. Tubs were rarely, if ever, properly cleaned between bathers, turning the bath water into a murky, questionable soup of who knows what. Bathhouses also doubled as places for eating and socializing, drinking copious amounts of ale and wine, and often becoming hubs for various illicit activities, shall we say. Unsurprisingly, the church condemned them as dens of sin and iniquity, and disease spread easily and rapidly in these perpetually steamy and humid spaces. The spread of plagues and syphilis eventually made public bathing a terrifying prospect for many, leading to their mass closures across Europe. Ironically, as bathhouses vanished from the landscape, regular bathing as a practice declined sharply. People genuinely feared that water itself would somehow let in disease and illness. Dry washing with cloths and perfumes became the new norm for personal hygiene. The medieval bathhouse, a bizarre mix of spa, pub, social club, and significant public health hazard, all rolled into one. Sometimes the act of getting clean only ended up making things significantly dirtier in the long run. Medieval medicine blamed bad air, miasma, for disease, especially during plagues. Enter the plague doctor, masked, cloaked, and armed with a beak stuffed with herbs to filter the air. The costume was more for show than safety, offering little real protection. People carried posies, burned incense, and fought invisible threats with strong scents. The beaked mask became a symbol of fear and desperation, a primitive hazmat suit against the unknown. Sadly, these efforts did nothing to stop the real killers, bacteria and fleas. The world fought plague with perfume, not science, a haunting image of a society battling the unseen with superstition. Dental care in the Middle Ages. Brutal and terrifying. Toothaches were blamed on imaginary toothworms, and cures ranged from burning candles near the mouth to smearing on mouse flesh. When pain became unbearable, teeth were yanked out by barber surgeons or blacksmith. No anesthesia, just brute force. Infections, broken jaws, and agony were common. Preventative care was rare, most just rubbed teeth with a cloth. Sugar's rise made cavities worse, but the cause was a mystery. Medieval mouths were a landscape of decay and pain. Dentistry was superstition and suffering. A simple toothache could become a life-threatening ordeal. Clean water was a luxury. Most drank from rivers doubling as sewers. Water teemed with waste, spreading deadly diseases like dysentery and cholera. People tried masking the taste with herbs, but it didn't make it safe. The wealthy had wells or cisterns, but most relied on contaminated sources. The solution? Drink beer or ale. Brewing killed germs, making it safer than water. Even children drank it daily. It was more liquid bread than booze. Beer was survival, not just celebration. Medieval people adapted ingeniously to their hazardous world. Sometimes a tankard of ale was the difference between life and death. One of the strangest customs, putting animals on trial. Pigs, cows, even insects could be charged, jailed, and tried like humans. If a pig killed someone, it faced a real court, complete with lawyers and witnesses. Guilty animals were executed, sometimes dressed in human clothes for the spectacle. Swarms of pests could be excommunicated by the church. These trials reflected a belief that all creatures were subject to divine law. It was a way to process tragedy and restore order, however bizarre it seems now. Justice in the Middle Ages extended to every living thing. Even a pig could end up at the gallows. From bloodletting to animal trials, these customs reveal a world shaped by fear, faith, and survival. They weren't senseless. They were attempts to make sense of a dangerous, mysterious world. Looking back, we see how far we've come in medicine, hygiene, and justice. History isn't just kings and battles. It's the story of how people coped with the unknown. Which custom shocked you most? Let us know in the comments and subscribe for more strange history. Thanks for watching.